What is going on? My name is Daniel. We're going over 5 settings to step up your photography game with the EOS R today, and we're out here with our wonderful model, Julia.
Hi.
So before the video even begins, go ahead and drop down in the comment sections what your favorite settings out of the EOS R are to use and what type of photography you do. Okay, so first up is actually pretty simple. You're going to want to make sure that your back screen is lit accordingly to where you're at. So if you're indoors and then bouncing outdoors and backing back indoors, you're going to want to make sure that it is set accordingly so that it's not so overblowing your images and you're thinking that they're either perfectly exposed or underexposed when they're actually not. Okay, and the next tip for your settings is to use your histogram on the not only the back screen, but you can use it inside your viewfinder, your EVF. So you're able to press info when your face is up to the viewfinder, and it will show you a level, and it will show you the grid, and it will also show you the histogram. So it's almost impossible to mess up the perfect exposure that you want when you're looking at a histogram through it, and it's actually not too distracting, and you can adjust how big that histogram is as well inside your camera. And the next one to make your portraits so much easier is to actually use face detect and eye detect to really make sure that you get the perfect focus on your subject, because the goal is to focus on the eye, and sometimes just having the focus point right on their face is not enough and you'll miss it just barely, especially when using something as sharp as like 1.8 down to 1.2. So next one's pretty simple, and it's just to go in and enable highlight alert, and that will flash anything that's been overexposed in your image and really help you know that you've overexposed, like the sky or something. You need to drop it down so that you can bring back some of the shadows later rather than having a totally overbaked part of your image. So another one is the exposure simulation. Now your camera should come with it turned on. If it's not, you need to go turn that on, because that's what makes mirrorless cameras so great, is that you can see exactly what the photo is going to look like before you actually take the picture, and it's reduced so much of my time. But that's not the real reason I bring it up, is that exposure simulation can be really good, but if you're doing it in low light situations, like this obviously isn't right now, but if you have a flash attached, it can make it very difficult for it to actually focus on your subject quickly. So go ahead when you're in dark situations using a flash or in a studio. Usually when using a flash though, you're going to want to turn off the exposure simulation and it'll work more like a DSLR. The nice sides and the perk side is that if you're using like f/22 or something for some studio shoot and you really do need those flashes, then you're going to be able to see and focus on what is there. Otherwise, if you have exposure simulation turned on, it's going to be nothing but black. There's just a bike on the roof of this place. Coffee something. One of the other things that you can use is the FV. I've said it wrong like 4 times. And that allows you to pretty much use TV, AV, and auto all at the exact same time, so you can take advantage of some of the wonderful technology that's gone into nailing exposure. And in comparison to the 60, which is what I used to have, the autofocus, the ISO auto has gotten so much better, and sometimes it's just so much easier to use that as you run and gun and try to get like all sorts of different photos of like all these little birds that are over there and different stuff like that. So mess around with that. I know it's a new setting, and I was a little bit skeptical at first and didn't really know how to use it, but all you have to do is go in there and then you use what would normally be your aperture control to move left and right, and then the regular toggle to control it. To clear it out, you just use the little left button on the little dial that's there. There's a whole bunch of other things that I really didn't cover because they're so very basic, like using the exposure simulation, actually using raw photos, taking raw photos, using the level inside here, and then a whole bunch of other different things that are in Lightroom rather than settings inside your camera. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. We'll be here on everything Canon mirrorless cameras.